Okay, hello, Dr. Phuntsog. Genla. We are here to interview you for the Mirror. And today is August 6th in Conway, Massachusetts, in the schoolhouse, the center of the Tibetan Medical School. And we would like to ask you some questions about COVID, the situation, this great pandemic that is taking over the world and all of our lives. We would like to have some advice from you.
Okay, thank
Okay?
you. Thank you.
And some information also. So, the first question is, how does Tibetan medicine view COVID, and how is it seen in terms of a Tibetan medical diagnosis?
hmm The Tibetan medicine, we see the COVID or any sort of like the contagious disease. When we're looking, the element aspect is the fire element, sort of like access. So predominated by the fire element. Of course, there also wind could participate, but it's a more sort of like a fire element. So it's a lot of like heat, fevers, inflammations, infections. Also, the nature progress is fast, develop is fast. So it's sort of like a sharp, aggressive nature, like the more fire element predominant. So when we do the diagnostics according to in Tibetan medicine, is the under we call the Nyen disease, not only the fire problems, but a fire combined with a certain like the virus. So that's we call is Nyen, which means it's very aggressive. In the Tibetan medicine, there is it looks like in Tibet, ancient time, when we looking the history of the medicine, looks like we had a very severe this kind of like the
Pandemic?
the infection disease or the contagious disease, because the developments of this one is very well done. Of course, also they said is there certain like enlightened masters. They say in the future comes time of the Kali Yuga, we will have certain disease and we should do this kind of preparations practice. I think also I see and back in the 2000s and the late 90s also the Nampa Rinpoche gave a lot of the teachings connected with the Vajra arms and the Garuda practice. So this really I see, he is not a regular person. So like he knows one day his student going to suffer this kind of issues, or not only his student but is like all the human beings. So I really since last year affected this pandemic, because we as a Tibetan medicine we try to research practice to see a lot of these issues. So I really found this is Rinpoche's also like he's seeing the future which kind of problem is going to face, because in the Tibet case of in Tibet, this time pandemic hit whole global, but Tibet is not. We didn't had any single A patient, especially in autonomous region.
Really?
Yeah, we had only one person who flew from Wuhan to Lhasa in the March last year. Yes, of course, he had the COVID, treated, sent back, and then autonomous region stay always the green zone. It's cleaned.
So after that person came with the COVID, no
Mm-hmm.
one else caught
No
it?
one else caught. And then before this one, also the SARS, and then also the another one. I don't remember the exact name, but it's the very recent. We had two other like the contagious disease in the Tibet. We didn't hit. also Tibetan people who live in China, or students who study in China, or teachers, professors, so they who work, or business people, they doesn't sound affected. This time, the two of my grandson, my first niece, her son, is in the Wuhan where is outbreak. At the time, also my niece and her husband is in Wuhan. They went to pick up children, and then they hit the pandemic. They stuck there. They said is hundreds of parents stuck there, and children. As they did a good job, so they didn't affect it. So later they came, they returned back home. So everything is safe. I thought they would do well also in the West, or Tibetan people who live outside of Tibet, like myself, or people who live in here or India, but it's not.
No.
Yes, we affected pretty badly, but it's the death rule is not high because it's the Tibetan medicine, and then the practice, teachings helped really is big deal. Yeah.
That's really amazing. So,
Yeah.
two questions from what you're saying. One is, did the Tibetan doctors in the West, did they do research?
Yes, we did a research. They studied, how should I say, organized by ATMA, American Tibetan Medical Association, and that the research is based on the data the Tibetan medicine practitioner doctors who live in the West, and especially the North America. Our sort of like patient data they collected, and then they soon, sometime in the October, November, they're going to be the papers about that.
Did they also, they through their research, they discovered what kind of medicine they want to.
The medicine is not through the research. Medicine is already in the book. We have one we call the Nyan chapter. So in the Nyan book, the epidemic disease topic, inside that there is 18 different types of the contagious disease, included chickenpox. So yeah, it's everything inside that book, like an example, this Korean tea in the CDC Korean tea is 2 weeks. Also Tibetan medicine, also they said 15 days. Because it's during the 15 days, because each element there are 3 days of the sort of like an example, like to get the problems, manifest the problems, and shift to the next sort of like each stage they takes like 3 days. Or simply for the Lung Tipa again, they're 9 days, and then after the 11th day, then a certain food you're allowed to eat. So this kind of everything is very precisely when your body shivering time, what you should do, when it's a fever time, what we need to do, and once they get like a dream is disturbs and emotional disturbs, more fears, difficult breathing time, what do you need to do? So everything is relative, is very precise, they explained. So thank of that the Tibetan people who take the Tibetan medicine, I would say they did very good this time. Yeah, the Tibetan medicine really contributed very well this time. Our service is very successful.
That's great. So, did the doctors research why Tibetan people have less problems with the COVID?
No, not that issue. Is that the our research is the how this Tibetan medicine is worked. So that is, I mean, may not the research same like standard the Western medicine way, because we don't have the labs and all those individual ingredient goes to things. But what we did is collected the data, and then among those sick people, and then how many of them able to treat, how many of them died, how many of them is the beginning like the Western medicine, like a positive COVID and then end like a negative. So this kind of thing, based on this kind of thing, we did.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was happening.
Yeah. So there's some doctor, they worked like over 200-300 people, and then because the hardest part, my own experience working with the COVID this year or the last year, was the sending the herbs to the people, because due to the pandemic, all the post office is too slow. Like to sending a package to New York takes 2 to 3 weeks, sort of like, and sometimes even they did not know really how when they will get.
Yes.
So this kind of reason is they made is everything is more difficult. So for that reason, I try to teach like home remedies, how to make a tea yourself, and then the most of the remedies ingredients are common kitchen we have. And I try to work more on this side, because is sending herbs, it's
Was very difficult.
it's very difficult. One time I sent a package to Canada, took more than a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So fortunately, in Tibetan medicine, as you said, many of the ingredients you can find in the kitchen herbal
yeah. Yeah.
closet.
Yeah, it's like simple things like cloves, turmeric. So those kind of in most kitchen we have, and then on top of that, like a nutmeg, something also is likely you can get from the food store. So now the good part is the food stores is not only particular food store, any food market, they carrying a lot of spices. So I really try to work on those spices. So it's a very, I would say, very successful.
Wow, that's great. Did you also recommend some practices to Tibetan people that they?
Yes, yes. Also, I try to recommend some practice, because for Tibetan, it's not really. His Holiness said is they should do the Green Dada practice, because Green Dada is a nature of the deity is very fast and be there on time, sort of like very reliable.
Better than the post.
Yeah. So His Holiness, he gave the transmissions through the online. How should I say? So, and then also His Holiness Sage Tenzin also, he said we should do the practice of the we call the Loma Kyoma. So the type of like the green Dada, but is the wearing the green leaves, sort of like. I don't remember now that the Sanskrit name. So she is mainly for the protect things, because it's if someone having like a contagious disease, and then her green leaf is like the protect. One is the protect, the other hand is a sort of like a harmonize. So in the Tibetan medicine, the issues that the pandemic, like a contagious disease, we call the infection chapter. We do have the ingredients based on that practice. We call the Loyunma. So there's a specific pills composed by this practice and then empowered through this practice. And we have another one, medicine or formula based on the higher Gyowa practice. We call it disease. So these two medicine is very powerful. So also we use these kind of things. So it's worked very well. Yeah, it's a entire in North America, looks like 3 or 4, maybe maximum 4 Tibetan died, but only 2 Tibetans and 2 Himalayan people. Yeah.
Were the Tibetans who died, were they older people or?
One is from West Coast area. The hospital did not know first they thought is pneumonia, then they thought is something else. They sent it back and forth. Then last minute they said is COVID, and then that day he died. So he didn't reach to the Tibetan herbs.
Yeah.
His wife contacted me, and then I worked with her. She's now there.
I see.
So this kind of
Okay. How does Tibetan medicine, if they do, view the environmental situation of the world as it is now, with all the different problems with the global warming and different environmental problems? Do you see that? Do you see that having any relationship to something like the pandemic?
Yes, yes. It is also because it's clearly sort of like due to our misbehave, our selfishness, our endless desire, fulfilled desire, and our mainly it's sort of like ignorance. It's causing all those kind of problems. Also, when we're studying the conditions of this kind of disease, and then this so once we get to this kind of like age conditions, and then people are became more selfish, and then more sort of like desire, so not able to satisfy, sort of like wanted more and more. And in the meantime also became sort of like too eager, like my and your, this kind of. So that causing a lot of fightings and then killing, and then killing all the, I mean not all, but is it like all other sentient beings, other beings, included the humans. So then this kind of time, then we will have a lot of natural disasters and then sickness. And then so in the book, in the Tibetan medicine book, they said is nyane nabu zamni shishatong. So 1/4 of the world will empty by this kind of disease, vanish by this kind of disease. Hopefully not this one, but who knows. So they already said these kind of things. Also the last year and this year also we had the Garchen Rinpoche's our webinar. Also he said is we have this problem because is a collective of our karma. And also I remember a lot that the Rinpoche's teaching, because it's during the pandemic lockdown time. It still is the issue is there, but during the lockdown time is not so much things to do. Beginning also we are not knowing this Zoom. Zoom is not that popular time.
It's not yet.
So I listen a lot of Rinpoche's teachings in the YouTube, and also I read a lot of Rinpoche's book. And I remember one time Rinpoche in the Kantroling, I think 2015, and he said, "It's now time to do the evolutions, not revolutions."
Yes.
So I did not know really exactly what the revolution, but I thought, or I learned the meaning is not something I tell you what you're supposed to do, but I do myself. If I know something good things supposed to do, and then instead of telling other people, do by myself, and then try to conquer or educate other people to changing their character or their behave. You try to change your behavior first. So this also really, this pandemic time, really I felt this is really is Rinpoche teaching is sort of like it on the point,
Yes.
because is this disease, even we do not know still, how created. It does not matter how they comes. Somehow is misbehave, And we're suffering whole global. This is our collective karma because we all have this kind of karma, as Garcha Rinpoche said. So that's really I feel because it's you look at our natures, and then result of that, how many earthquakes we had, how many fire, wildfires, how many water floodings. Every year there is the natural disaster. Like even one country, one part is fire months a month, the other part is water months a month. Would be great, these two goes together. Looks like, but it's not.
No.
So I think this all is that they come back to the, as Rinpoche said, that the evolution we need to think about ourselves, how we try to change our behavior, and how we try to learn satisfied, because it's our desire is endless, but its outer nature is like a not something that the like a unlimited is limited.
Mm.
Our desire is unlimited, our anger is unlimited, our selfishness is unlimited, but is that the sources, natural sources, is limited and not unlimited. Of course, unlimited mind wanted using that limited things one day is emptied. Of course, also not I'm the only one doing this. Is 6 billion people, whatever is, we all have our selfish anger and so on and so forth. So this, I really learned a lot during this pandemic. It is a strange way to say, but special connecting back to the Rinpoche's teachings and other great masters' teachings, not only Tibetan Buddhism teaching, I'm not saying, as also many other great peoples.
Mm-hmm.
Their actions, their wisdoms, really I learned a lot.
That's great. Yes, I think many people appreciated the time, the quarantine time. They could go inside themselves and practice a lot, and like you say, reflect. Many people were reflecting on our individual
Yeah.
behavior and the behavior of the world.
Yeah, you're right. It's people who, this time is, I really found out it's I'm not saying Buddhism is great. I'm not saying. Why I'm not saying, because in my teacher Rinpoche never say, this religion is better than that one, or religions, people whose religion is better than non-religions. I'm not saying, but the people who learned some teachings or practice, they did much better than the who do not do this kind of.
Yeah.
Also myself, also I really learned, even we are locked down, even we won't see anyone, but we know around me there's my brothers, sisters around me, the community sense.
Yes.
Meantime, also if I wanted to 24 hours, I can participate through the Zoom
Yes.
to see the global people.
Yes.
So this really helped.
Yes.
Just
That's great.
thinking of this community sense of the community. Oh, okay, something happened. I can call this one. I can call that one. Just to have an idea, because many other people, in the local people, they don't have this kind of sense of the community. They did not do well at all.
Yes.
Many people did not do well. Children did not do well.
Yes.
Senior did not do well. Yeah, there's a lot of pain. This, yeah, it's, we are already sort of like samsara is a suffering,
Yes.
and then the pandemic brought more suffering,
More stuff.
and then it's like a more global aspect of the suffering brought. It's interesting. It's like a teaching. It's a
Yes.
teaching. Really, it's interesting teaching.
Very interesting teaching, for sure. So now we get to the point about this famous vaccine. I'm wondering how you might feel about the vaccine, and if you feel it's valuable that people take the vaccine. And if there's anyone who you think maybe should not, maybe there are people who it's better for them not to have.
So, in a vaccine in the Tibetan medicine is not something is very new, no. in the Tibetan medicine, when we're looking like a children birth, and then first day, sort of 3 days, we prepare something formulas to give them. Of course, small, but is ideally 1 year will protect from the any negative aspects, included sickness, included contagious. So this kind of, so we have this kind of vaccine. Of course, not same as like that the vaccine, like the science thing. And also, as we said before, we have like many different mantras. We chanting the mantras, wearing the mantras, and wearing certain like this is my protector, my vaccine. So this kind of, we do have certain things. So this is not something totally new for Tibetans concepts, because it's a human life is very important. To get the human life is not something coincidentally, and then through this human body or human life we can do a lot of things. We can be potential, we have succeed or accomplish to our dreams, whatever the dream is. So for this kind of sense, this body is very important, and the many different way very easily can lose. And then so the teachers, they give a lot of metaphors how the body is precious, but if you don't pay attention very easily can lose. Sometimes our life is looks like very valuable. If you say how much value your life, there's no priceless. But is to take in my life is very simple things can take in my life, looks like totally useless way. For this kind of reason, the type of like a vaccine to wearing the protector cord or chanting the mantras, and then using some like you may experience like Julian pills or many other things, for Tibetan culture is very common. And then special this vaccine, I thought really it's since the day number 1 pandemic this came, we all sort of like waiting this vaccine. This is really I thought about, because everyone talking that there is a vaccine, and then I wished really they came is a little sooner. I did not know really to prepare this vaccine, how long takes and which way to make and how many times need to do testing, because I'm not a scientist. So I really wish they comes a little sooner and less people die. So this is really I wished. And then finally came, I was really grateful. I did the first one in February, and the second one I did in the March. I know I'm here in the Western Massachusetts. Our center is like isolated, no one around. My health also relatively is okay. My case should be okay, I thought. Really special. I have this Tibetan medicine tea, which I made, and then it's also pretty working well. Anytime I have little feeling little strange, I make that tea and then completely disappears. Many people send me letter, say thank you. I send this Tibetan herbal tea to prevent COVID to more than 3,000 people. I send everywhere. But then the problem is the pandemic stayed too long. Then I ended my herbs. Then I couldn't get new herbs.
Okay.
That's happened. And then we ordered and we got now. But your question is the vaccine is, I think, is really is good. I did the vaccine, and then I feel more free. I feel more sort of like how should I say, more sort of like trust to go with the people, into the people. Also, I feel protect myself and then prevent others. I feel really more confident.
Mhm.
So that's I want to say.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Do you think there are any conditions of people where maybe the vaccine is not recommended, or?
Um, I don't remember really what the CDC said. I thought they said also the pregnant woman
Mm.
or the breastfeeding, they sort of like you can consider or maybe talk with the doctors. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's I really feel because is when you conceived time, it's that the baby is very small and then its body is not developed yet. So I'm not sure how he or she able to protect
Yeah.
against it, the vaccine. And there's someone breastfeeding also. Other than that, I think is ideally is everybody should do because also CDC they said now I don't remember but under 12 years old or something still they're not doing no?
Yes, they're not.
So which means is that the breastfeeding children and then if someone in the womb may not the best options.
Yes, yes, true.
And other than that, it's yeah. Let me. I will tell you why I did the very beginning the vaccine. You know, I thinking the first also I said maybe not, maybe yes, maybe not because maybe not because it is, I don't see anyone
Mm-hmm.
why I need to
Mm-hmm.
get the
Mm-hmm.
vaccine. But then one day I was listening to Rinpoche's teaching. Um, so he said it's that everything you need to work with a circumstance, you know. So what you need to do, you work with the circumstance. So my circumstance is middle of the pandemic. The vaccine is available. I should do that. Then also I thought if Rinpoche is here with us as the physical aspect with us, for sure he will say, you go to get that one. Why you don't get that one? If you don't want to something happened on you, you should do. Not only you, even you don't care your life, respect to other people's life. You should do this one. I really it's felt if the Rinpoche's physical aspects with us, he will say that to us. Of course, Rinpoche is always with us here, but it's more like the human aspect with us. So that's also way I immediately I decide, okay, I will do. I will go to get the vaccine, and then I will do the vaccine. So I got the first vaccine is the Tibetan Losar Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I thought this is very auspicious
Yes.
because New Year, new vaccine is
Yes.
protected.
That was the day of your appointment, just
Yeah,
coincidentally?
yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah.
quite
Because I
auspicious.
called the Amanda helped me to
Make an
sign
appointment.
things, make an appointment, and then I got immediately the appointment part of the healers, practitioner.
Yes.
So they took me immediately. So
Wow.
I got, and the second one I got in March 12th. So
Wow.
I'm
That's,
so happy.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. Um, I just have maybe two more questions. One is about the variants, and does I don't know, maybe it's not relevant, but it's difficult for us to understand why these variants are happening, these mutations, and it seems that each time they mutate, they get a little stronger and maybe more quick, faster.
Yeah.
Do they talk anything about this in Tibetan medicine?
Yes, Tibetan medicine we talk that because it's something appears and then if you're not able to conquer 100%, after that they will become more stronger, like a mafia.
Yeah.
If there is mafia, if you're not able to make 100% sort of like disappear, underneath they can make program, they make strengthen them, and they become is one day they show more one day they show again like the visible way, and they're much stronger than the was before. So this is also like a logical. Now they know how to fight back to the body, and then whatever those medicine what we used. So when we are developing time, they're also developing.
Right.
So when we are getting new ideas of vaccines, and then wearing the mask, and then clean the hand, and so on and so forth. The meantime, they're also developing.
Yes.
Like two different groups of beings. We both is developing.
Yes.
The point is who able to attacking or conquer which one. So at the moment, we also developed well. The science expert got a lot of how to fight back to the vaccine. At the meantime, also looks like a vaccine also got good idea how fighting back to those medicines, and then who should attack, and then how to attacking this kind of thing. I think it's this Tibetan medicine we say is very common, very normal. For that reason is when we're taking like a medicine for any kind of like fevers, infection, like antibiotic, there is like length of the time you need to take, which means if you stop before, and then that the seed of the disease is in the body, one day will get back, and then at that time the previous medicine not able to work. So this also common, like if you take simply blood pressure medicine, start with like 25 milligrams, 50, 100, 150, and then every time we need to increase. Why? Because is that the body get familiar with the medicine, and the disease get also. So this is very common. Yeah.
So that kind of indicates that if more people are vaccinated, then the variant has less access. It can't move around as much as before. Or the vaccine can help. The more people that are vaccinated, the less the kind of mutations can arise. Is that something that is true? That's what the CDC is saying.
Yeah, I think so, because as I said again, I'm not this kind of expert, so I have no idea. If you ask me, really, this vaccine is going to work or not, I have no idea. If you ask how long this vaccine is valid, then is there any chance need to do again? I have no idea. But those experts, not only one expert, two expert, the hundreds of experts, they saying, they doing, because they're also we same as like us. Their families are suffering, they're suffering, doctors died, nurse died, their family members died. So they're also same as like us. Now whole global beings into one boat.
Yes.
We all suffering equally. So the government putting money, I guess, and then expert science they're working on. For sure, there are also some other interesting things for sure, but I think the interest is how to saving life and then get out of this issue. So they said is if we do the vaccine, most majority adult, if we do the vaccine for the children is much safer.
Yeah.
Or most people do, then the small popular or small individual health condition people, for them is much safer. I really trust them. As a doctor, I really trust them. So when they said that, because even one country experts they want to lying to some purpose, but they cannot cheat a whole 6 billion people. I don't think so. And then there's not only one or two experts, there is like millions of experts, millions of science. One cheating all of them doesn't sound is working today. So I really trust them. And then they said, I really trust them. So yeah, even what I feel, like I got both vaccine, an example. Today you came to see me. Somehow you got later you found the COVID and then you think you got from me. But I don't feel guilty because I did what I'm supposed to do. What
Yes.
can I do?
Yes.
But if I don't do the vaccine, something happened, you get, and then your family get, and then some senior cause to losing their life, I really feel as if I'm the guilty. I really feel I sort of like, I can't say I killed, but it is close to that. I really will feel very badly guilty.
Yeah.
But when I do everything supposed to do,
Yes.
then what can I do?
Yes.
This is maybe karma, you know. Of course, I would not be happy, but I will feel less guilty.
Less
That's
guilty.
this also. I think it's a relief for me to once I done the vaccine because now I can see some senior peoples around because they needed some helps. If I don't do the vaccine, I would never go there. I would never
Yes.
touch them.
Yes.
Really.
That's really very
Yeah.
great to know. Thank you. And then maybe the last question is kind of a funny one. How can anyone really know? But do you foresee any end to this situation with this COVID as it continues to mutate and find its strength again and again? Do you think there will ever be any end to this situation now that it's begun?
I see or end the COVID or end my life. So someone,
One of you will end.
yeah, one of us will end. Which one first end, I do not know. I'm hoping really same as like other people. I'm hoping the end first, the
The COVID.
pandemic,
Yes.
and I have a little bit of freedom life because we wear the mask a year and then we never done that before, so this is very unusual for us. And then March last year till to the March this year, maybe in even April, May, I don't remember. And then suddenly the Massachusetts, the law, they say, okay, now you don't have to wear masks either outdoor or indoor, wherever. And then some place they put like options. But now, as you need to wear again masks.
Yes.
I don't know that the CDC said you should wear or not. I don't see anything. But when I go to post office, everybody wear. When I go to the bank, everybody wear. When I go to the food market, people also wear it. So now the people more wearing mask means is they have more bad news. So that's the reason. Yeah, I really hope this ending this. Yeah, yesterday I went to Florence, my radio show. On the way back, me and Amanda, we went for a tea, and everybody wearing mask. I was, I just went like this way, and everybody look at me. So this looks like, what are you doing? Sort of like, you know. So that also made me sort of like,
Funny.
so that means it's not good news,
Yeah.
you know.
You have to remember your
Yeah.
mask.
So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Genla. This
Thank
is very,
you.
very helpful.
Thank you. I really hope we as a team, global team together, and we try to get back to this, you know. As a Buddhism follower, when we, like Namgano Rinpoche, we are as the student of Rinpoche, how he sacrificed to his life to the beings. Of course, we're not able to do that much because it's we are, you know, we are weak.
Mhm.
And like when we're reading like Buddha's stories, Buddha offered his body to tiger, hungry mother, and then the baby saved the babies. Of course, we cannot do that. But to get a vaccine-free vaccine, to just be as compassion, thinking other beings' life, I think that probably we could do. Also, so that's really I want to ask all my friends, sanghas, brothers, sisters, consider that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.